Welcome to the latest update of the free email designer. When you install the extension, the first thing you'll notice is when you click on the compose button in your Gmail, you will get a new tab down here that says design newsletter. If you are designing for some other platform, you're likely using our website, which is a long address, something like free HTML newsletter, something. I don't remember. I've got it in the link. Now, once you're here, you'll click on the button and you'll be able to design your newsletter here in this new window, and then once it's done, you'll be able to simply click on insert into Gmail and it will copy your content over into your Gmail body. I'm going to undo that for now, and I'm going to jump into the latest features. So on the latest features, when you start a new project, you will get this empty view. Notice right now I am on a mobile view. You can switch it between views from desktop to mobile, but I recommend for most of your designs, focus on a mobile design framework, a mobile design. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because we are copying and pasting, we lose a bit of functionality. If we are doing a direct send on a server-side platform like SendGrid or MailChimp or any of the other ones that might exist, you get a little bit more control because it sends actual code to the user rather than Gmail, which removes some of the formatting. So I lose things like if I have two columns, and it goes to mobile view, it shows it in a single column full width. I'll show you that in a moment. Let's go ahead and let's do something like that. Let's add in a single column, which is what you need to do to add any elements, and then we'll go over to the block elements and we will add in a title, and we'll call this something like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to just leave the heading there. I'm going to add in the text, and then I'm going to add in a single button down at the bottom here. Notice it is aligned to the left. Everything is aligned to the left. I can click on the button and let's call it button 1. I know, very, very amazing. As you can see, there's a link you can add. You can add styles, so I can change the colors, the foreground, like the text color in the background. And then if I want to make this full width in a single column, I can click on styles, come down here to the bottom and click on full width. I can also, if I don't want it full width, I can set it at center view. I can do that for all of my elements, the ability to align to center. I can also change the header types. There's a lot you can do with these, from that to rounded corners to no rounded corners, whatever you might need to do. I tried to build as much as possible, and I'm building new features every time I see a fix, or if you leave a comment, I'll try to add that feature and see if it's viable. Now, if I want to, let's add a new section that's 2 columns. So let's say instead of a single button, I wanted 2 buttons. For whatever reason, I have 2 buttons I want clicked. I can come over here and drop in the 2 buttons. Notice we get a boxy look here. I'm going to add a second button. We'll call this, obviously, button 1, just to distinguish between these two, and another button. Notice the responsiveness. It's going to fill it out as much as it can, unless we stylize that differently. And they're not centered, so I could center them, or what I could also do is I could come down here and say I want them full width. Now you might assume that since I am setting both of these to full width, that when I bring this into a mobile view, it would actually do a full width. But as you can see, because we're doing a copy and paste feature, it takes that functionality out. Yes, it's a bit of a loss, so you'll have to, if you want a full width button to expand the entire row, you'll need to put it in its own row itself, or a single column. That's one of the few limitations. You can find more about that by clicking on the help section, and it explains why this happens. Now, notice each of these is a column, and within the columns there are the buttons. Within the columns themselves there is a section. To get to these nested points, to move things around, the best way to do that is to click on these sections over here, and you can come over and rename them or highlight them so you know what it is you're selecting. So if I'm like column, what does column mean? I can say left. Over here, I can say right. Then I kind of know better what that is. And once I click on it, it will actually open up that column if I wanted to edit the column, not just the button within it. So let's do that for the column. Let's set the background of a column so we can do that as well. By default, it's turned off. I can click on the X here and be like, well, give me a weird color. All right, there we go. I know, terrible design. But that's the basics of that. When you upload an image, any of those blocks, you'll grab an image, add it in here, and clicking on it, go to content, and you can upload an image. It has a placeholder at the moment. You can set a link to it, anything, as much as you could imagine. A lot of it just comes down to style. Now, let's say I want to reuse this later on. I have this awesome design layout. Yes, I know this isn't awesome, but if I did have a pre-existing template and I wanted to save it, this is a local tool, and so to save it, I would need to save a local file. We can do that by clicking on the Save button. And notice it gives the name Untitled Newsletter. So the first thing you want to do is come here, and I'm going to call this, I don't know, my ugly button. And then when I click Save, notice it should have named it. It did not. What happened here? Well, that's a minor glitch. I will get that fixed. That should actually have renamed that before you see newsletter. So if I would have typed sample, it should have automatically filled that out. Then, if I say new at this point, and I click OK. So if you have those challenges, let me know. When I click new, it clears it out. I can't get back. I can't go undo, return that. Instead, what I would do is I would say import. I would find the sample. I have one in here already that I created as well called red and green. And I would say open, and it would restore it back to that, and I can work from this model. Additionally, you have the ability for themes. I have a few set pre-themes. I haven't created a feature where you can upload your own themes yet. I may do that in the future for just a community environment. You can load themes, but that's more in the future. New empty newsletter, same thing as new up here. You could set your max width. Let's say it's more or less for the default. You can set your global fonts. You can set your global headers, colors, sizes for everything if you want to design that ahead of time, so that you don't have to figure out your styling for the header size and all the content. Add-ons. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to work with add-ons, if I'm going to build additional functionality on that later on, but it's there for future development. And then help lets you know different features and functionalities and links to videos like this one. Again, if you want to see what it looks like it's on a desktop, that's what it'll look like. Here's what it'll look like on a mobile. You can click on the preview to see maybe a more controlled environment. Maybe that's what it would look like on your phone versus on the desktop. You can even open up in a tab and a new one over and over and over again. I'm also thinking of adding in a dark mode soon, but that's a future development. I'll let you know when that happens. So close that out. We're done. We're good. Great.